From Sonam Kapoor's house to NRI fashion labels with so many prints and patterns to the mixing of gold and silver jewelry, maximalism is back, baby! Now, this video is going to specifically focus on the color aspect of maximalism. Colors are coming back. I've been noticing this for a year now. More color, more presence, more identity, more chaos, more us. From packaging design incorporating more bold and punchy colors to interiors being filled with a range of different colors depending on the owner's taste, colors are coming back, and this is a refreshing change from Dyna marble floors and overhead beam lighting, both of which I have in my house, so no shade to anyone. My mom is going to be pissed when I upload this. This article, which calls maximalism a trend of the British Empire, brings up an important question, that if it is a remnant of imperial power, why are we returning to it? Yes, maximalism is a rebellion against minimalism, which I touched on in my Return of Yellow Gold video. Yes, there is a need to rebel against the beigification of design, of fashion, of life in general. Many creators have made videos on how everything is losing color. But I think this rebellion is much deeper than just an aesthetic change. I think the rebellion is against the loss of color as a concept and for what all the color stands for. I first heard of chromophobia by David Batchelor 2 years ago while creating my grad project book, and here is my page on it. But with this theory, Batchelor talks about the fear, distrust, and devaluation of color in Western society. I can go very deep with this, but apparently Instagram doesn't like longer form content, so I'll try to keep it short. Batchelor argues that for centuries, Western art, design, and philosophy have associated color with the feminine, the Oriental, which is non-European cultures, the primitive or the childlike, and the vulgar or the superficial. So color is seen as something excessive that needs to be controlled, managed, or removed to achieve a sense of purity or truth, which in Western cultures is seen as plain, white, and colorless. So it's interesting to find out that maximalism is a concept from British imperial times, because as this article suggests, where do you think the British sourced their objects from? Loot from their colonies made up the obgelia for their maximalist aesthetic, where the home became a private museum of conquered people, where color is only seen as something to collect from colonized countries and house in museums, where color is accepted only when it signifies power over the colonized. Color is definitely not to live with, wrap around you, or douse yourself in. If you're getting my drift, maximalism is an aesthetic born out of colonial plunder. But it doesn't have to be, because India doesn't have to curate maximalism. It's all around us. From our markets to our temples to our mosques, we are big and bold and loud, and we don't have to label ourselves as maximalist to wear this boldness proudly. So my push is that instead of buying maximalism, let's find it in our homes. Let's repurpose what we have, look into our mom's closet, dad's closet, dadi's closet, nani's closet, and not buy it on Meesho or Myntra. Let's not let anyone sell us the aesthetic of maximalism, because that's a scam. It's another Kolhapuri chappal situation. Let's cut the monotony of fast fashion, quiet luxury, clean girl aesthetic, but not with another trend, because maximalism is not a trend, it's our visual culture. Our craft, our colors, our chaos, that's the real maximalism, not bulk ordering objects off of Amazon. These were my random thoughts on the rise of maximalist aesthetics. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.